This is the plaintiff, Sarah Welch. She says the defendant was her one-time good friend, but not anymore because she stole $800 out of her bank account. The defendant can't just take her money and steal from her like that, so she's suing for the $800 because she wants it back. This is the defendant, Anne. She says she was a signatory on the plaintiff's account, and the money she took from it was hers, not the plaintiff's. The plaintiff degraded her on social media, claiming she was a pill-popping thief, and if anyone's owed money today, it's not the plaintiff. She's accused of stealing from a friend. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $500 for libel.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Welch, you are suing your former friend, Ms. Ann, for $800 that you say she illegally withdrew from an account from you, and you have a counterclaim against her for $500 for libel. Let me hear from you first, Ms. Welch. Tell me what happened here.
Yes, ma'am. The defendant, she asked me to cash a check in my account for her.
How did you two know each other?
We met through a mutual friend.
And how long had you known each other?
I want to say for about 15 years.
Okay. And had you been close during those 15 years?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so she asked you to cash a check. Why?
Because she couldn't cash it in her account due to the check that she received every month. So I said yes.
You mean she wanted to hide it from the government because she receives a government check every month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you decided to help her hide this big check from the government. And what was this big check coming in from?
One of her family members passed away.
Right.
I didn't mean to help her.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, you know, it's up to no good if she's asking you, I can't put it in my account. Because in fact, you told me the reason why she couldn't put it in, because then it'll affect my monthly disability. Because if I have money, if I've received money through an inheritance, then my disability is supposed to be, or whatever government is supposed to be reduced. All right. So anyway, what happens to the check she received?
I took it to my bank. My bank said I had to add her to my account in order for me to deposit the check because it would look like I was stealing her money. And I said, okay. So I deposited it in my account and I added her. And she received her money.
How quickly did she receive the money?
She received it pretty quickly.
Like, did you wait for the check to clear?
I want to say within 2 weeks she received the money.
All right, so
it
they
was
waited
a while
for the
ago.
check to clear. And then what happened?
She got the money.
And this was this whole little arrangement was how long ago? How many years ago?
It was a long time ago.
Can you give me an idea? Are we talking about 10 years or 3 years or what?
I want to say about 10 years.
10 years. Okay. All right. So then what happens?
Then we go on, we're being friends and everything is normal. Then I stopped being friends with her due to something that happened. It was a toxic friendship and I just couldn't be part of it no more. So I stopped being friends with her.
What was it that happened?
I couldn't be friends with her that year completely. She just changed from who she was when I first met her. And it was just more negativity than positivity. And at that point, I just couldn't be friends with her no more.
All right. So what happened?
And after that, I haven't spoken to her in probably about 4 years. I go to make a purchase on my DoorDash and it says my card is blocked. I call my bank and my bank said, call my main bank where I go to. They've been trying to call me for a week, but I didn't know. I never checked the voicemail, and any number that's not listed in my phone was registered as spam. So I never got the call. When I called the bank, they said the defendant was calling to the bank for a week, asking questions and all this information about the account that I didn't know she was still on because I spoke to a teller years ago and he told me it would be taken care of and she was off.
Did you ever check to make sure that, don't you get bank statements?
I get everything online and I even showed the bank this. I never saw her name on my online account. Her name was never on my online account. And I went paperless because I do everything online.
So when you log in, you don't see her name?
No, ma'am, not at all. I never saw her name at all.
Okay, so what ended up
And
happening? So you find out that she's calling about your account and did what?
she went down to the bank on July 1st and she withdrew $800. And I called the police that night and I explained to them what the bank just told me on the phone. And the bank was already closed that day, so I had to go down the next morning, close my account, and reopen a new account. And the bank manager
Which is how
informed me
you
at the
should have done
time-
it the last time, actually, really. If you no longer want,
That's what
if you
she
have a
told
change
me.
in circumstances where someone is on your account, whether it's an ex or a friend or whatever it is that's going on, you close the account and then you open up a new account so that this kind of error doesn't happen. But anyway, so tell me what happens. You go down there and you close out the account. Was there any money left?
Yes, there was money left.
How much?
I think it was about 800 or 700 and
So
some
the
change.
DoorDash was less than that. So why was it not being able to be used? Because they wanted you to call in because they found everything suspicious?
Yes, ma'am. They thought it was suspicious and they knew the situation that she only made the one deposit into my account of her check and they knew the money was given. And
Ms. Ann, what's going on here?
None of this is accurate.
Okay, you tell me your
Except
version.
We had been friends since 2004. And in 2008, I lent her $2,400 in cash so that she could secure an apartment. It was first, last, and security. And she did secure that apartment. She no longer lives there, but she owed me $2,400 in cash. So finally, in 2018, I sort of hinted around about going to small claims court or start paying me on that amount
On a debt from 12 years ago?
from 2008. We were very, very good friends.
Had the debt come up ever in those 13 years?
Occasionally.
Tell me about that check that you received. That was part of an inheritance?
Yes.
And
My
why didn't
mother died.
why didn't you just put it in your own account?
Basically, I did. What happened was Sarah and I went to the bank.
Why? Why is Sarah involved? Why didn't you just deposit the check in your own account?
Because I wanted, if something happened to me, I wanted Sarah to have the cash for her son, who was my godson. I did not cash the check. It was put into a certificate of deposit.
Well, what happened with
or
the money, the
deposit money.
inheritance?
Well, I eventually took it out and put it into my other account.
Okay, but not the account where the government puts the
not
money,
trying to-
right?
I was not.
Was it the
yes,
same
that
account where the government puts the money or no?
Yes. I was not trying to hide the money.
Well,
On
if the money is
disbursement,
supposed to be there for if something happens to you to go to the godson, then why were you pulling it out and putting it back into an account?
at the end of the year, that is what I did.
He was no longer your godson at the end of the year, or
No, he was still my godson.
Right.
However, I had other debts that I had to
okay.
take care of.
All right, so tell me what just happened because apparently you guys lost touch years ago. Is that true or not true?
No, we talked until the end of 2018. In the very beginning of 2019, she Facebook messaged me saying that we were no longer friends,
Okay.
never giving me a clear idea as to what was going on. Except she was unhappy, and I said, if you were unhappy for 14 years, I mean, why didn't you say something? But at any rate, that was that. That was the messaging from Facebook. That was it. That was the last bit.
All right,
of
so what
communication
happened with this
we had.
$800 she's talking about? Did you withdraw $800 from her account?
Yes. What happened was, I guess when Sarah moved, she did not change her address at the bank. So at the last day of June, I received from the bank in a handwritten envelope addressed to both me and Sarah that there had been a credit from an ATM deposit to our account. So I called the bank and verified that I was, in fact, a signatory on this account.
So you
Had
helped
I
yourself to
never-
money that you knew wasn't yours?
It was mine.
How was it
She
yours?
owed me $2,400.
From 13 years ago, which you know the statute of limitations has passed and you wouldn't be able to sue her for.
No, I did not realize.
I think you did, because one of the things you said was, I
No,
threatened to take her to court,
I did not.
but I wasn't really gonna because too much time passed. Let me ask you a question. Ms. Welsh, did she loan you $2,400 that you were supposed to pay back and didn't?
I paid back over years. I didn't have $2,400 to give right back. I work from paycheck to paycheck, and I didn't have $2,400 to give her back at once. I paid to have stuff done on her car twice. I gave her back money through the years.
But
And
did
then
you
the
fully
last
pay
year-
it? I'm sorry, did you fully pay it off or didn't you? Is what
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I did. I didn't even know that I still supposedly owed her money.
Let me ask you, Ms. Ann, how did you figure that you could just go into, I know how you figured you could get away with it, because of course your name is on the account. And therefore, you could get away with it vis-a-vis the bank. And the bank won't get in trouble because, hey, your name's on the account. So the bank isn't going to sue you or anything else like that. My question to you is different. How do you figure that you can help yourself to the money? Because that's like saying that if you feel I owe you money, you can go into my bedroom, open my drawer, and take my stash of money and help yourself to it. How is it that you feel that you were not going to get in trouble for taking $800 out of her account instead of going to court and suing the right way?
I was a signatory on the
No,
account.
that's the answer to how did you think you were going to get away with it? You know that money
No.
wasn't there for you. You know that because you haven't spoken to her since 2018.
I do know. Yes, that is true. I do know that money was not there for
Right.
me.
So it's called theft.
However,
How is it not theft?
She owed me.
So then go sue her in court. You don't get to stick your hand in the
And-
till just because you can get away with it with the bank. That's not appropriate. That's completely dishonest. And you know that. What's your counterclaim for $500 for?
She went on Facebook and unblocked me with her new account, and she tagged me in a post saying that I was a pill-popping thief, and she would comment on a bunch of things that I had posted, just nasty comments.
Do you have any of them to show me?
Unfortunately, because we then blocked one another again, I could not get the tag. However, I did respond to it. I am not a pill-popping thief.
Well, I know you're a thief. I know you're a thief.
I'm not a
No,
thief.
you're absolutely a thief. You went to a bank because you could, and you took money because you could, even though you had no permission to take the money and you know the money was not yours. You avoided court like the rest of us chumps have to do when we feel we're owed money because too long had passed, so you knew you would never be entitled to
That
the money.
I did not
Then
know.
I don't care if you knew it or not. You know that you can't stick your hand in her pocket, take the money, and say, ha ha ha, because you owe me money from 13 years ago. You know that. You know that. Because if not, I'm really worried about you living on your own. All right? You know that. Now, did you write a Facebook post that she was a pill-popping thief?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where do you
I
get
did,
the
but I
idea
didn't
she's a
mean
pill
it.
popper? I understand where you think she's a thief. Tell me where you get the idea she's a pill popper.
Because she takes a lot of medication. She stole medication from my bag as I was going across the street to pick up my son from the school. And as I came around from the back window of the car, I saw her going in my purse and she stole medication and quickly put it in her pocket to think that I wouldn't see it. And that's why from that point, I never took a bag with her. I only wore
Wait, did
my
you say
wristlet.
anything to her when she did that?
I didn't know ma'am, I didn't know what to say because
What do you mean
I've
you don't know
never
what
had
to
that
say? I
done
know what to
me, and I
say.
don't
Give
know
me
what-
back my medicine.
I don't know what to say to somebody like that. I don't know the right thing to say.
I just saw you
Because
steal my
when they
medicine.
do that-
I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not giving it a lot of thought. But hey, what do you think you're doing?
And I called her the thief because she stole my money. So I put it together and I wrote it to write to her. And I posted on the Facebook.
Ms. Welsh, on your lawsuit against Ms. Ann, I find in your favor. Ms. Ann, here's a big surprise. Return the $800 that you helped yourself to. that you had absolutely no right to help yourself to. You shouldn't have taken the $800. On your counterclaim against her for $500 for a statement you no longer even have, where she called you a pill-popping thief, I find in her favor, and I am not going to call that libel. That is her opinion. There's always a fine line between those things. You are on, you do, I'm not going to pry into your personal life, but you do take pills. And I find that you did steal her money. So frankly, truth is a defense. And I am going to, although I don't like it when people take to the internet like that, I don't find it actionable. Return her $800, verdict for the plaintiff, and on the counterclaim, 0.
So the plaintiff prevails in this case. She's going to get her $800 back, and the defendant loses her countersuit for $500. Ms. Ann, the judge called you a thief, flat-out thief. What do you think?
I don't agree with it, obviously. However, she's the judge. I have to respect what the decision that she came to. I am not going to pay Sarah back the $800. I am on Social Security, and I can't.
Ms. Welch, let me ask you, how do you feel about this now? You were kind of stupid not to take her off your account. You realize that now, don't you?
Yes, sir. I should have been more thorough in taking her off. I've never added anybody to my account before, and I should have been more checking with it and to make sure.
No question about that. You learned a lesson the tough way. Anyway, you're going to get your $800
Yes.
back, so sorry, this ended your friendship, and that'll do it for this case. Harvey?
Well, Doug, I think this is interesting because you have a situation where it's true the defendant was a signatory, but it was a mistake, and it was a mistake clearly known to the defendant. So the defendant had no right to take the money, period. As for the countersuit, you know what? It's as simple as this. I'm sure you've heard it before. In a defamation case, truth is a defense.
If you were stranded on a desert island, who would you want to be stranded with?
Okay, so are we going to exclude each other from this?
Yes, yes, we have to exclude each other.
Here?
Let's exclude each other.
Okay, well, I'm going to say you would want to be stranded with a really good decorator who would create an environment with the feng shui and the,
Yes,
the
it's
ambient.
so true.
That's who you would want. You'd want
That's
like
right.
Martha Stewart or somebody to just make it
somebody who
so,
could just make
right.
it, some
Right.
incredible decorator who could just make my space nice and calm and yeah, absolutely.
All right, now I would want to be stranded with somebody who could make me laugh incessantly.
Oh, that's a way better idea.
It would have
actually.
to be. It would have to be a comedian, maybe like a Chris Rock or John Mulaney.
John
Some of the ones that I
Mulaney.
like. John Mulaney's funny as hell, so
Yeah.
somebody like that. But the funny thing is, when you ask somebody who do you want to be stranded on a desert island with, most men they're gonna go right to the supermodel, actress, spectacular kind of thing. And when you think about that question, I toy that over my mind, and then I think, I want to be with somebody who likes me. And those people are probably not going to like me, right? So at the end of the day, I probably want to be there with you. So, not that you're not a supermodel.
No.
But